ain't going back in.
There's still men out there. God damn. When I go home, people ask me, hey, who? Why do you do it, man? Why? You some kind of war junkie? I won't say a goddamn word. Why? They won't understand. They won't understand why we do it. They won't understand it's about the men next. That's it. That's all it is.
Find us on the
welcome to Dog Days, where we talk about all things cannabis. I am your hostess with the mostest, the Bud Bitch. In today's episode, we have a very special guest, Miss Chelli Stanley, founder of the environmental organization Upland Grassroots, who is currently working on a major bio-remediation project in Maine utilizing hemp. And so, welcome, Chelli. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just got an email from Ira asking me to send him the link. So I don't know if you could send it, or it sounds like he's ready to join. I can send it, but that's why I look slightly distracted at the moment. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Ira's going to be joining as well. He's also doing a Bio-Remediation project, so he will be sharing that as well. He's working, I think, on uranium, and we've been working on PFAS, like the forever chemical, in northern Maine for the last 5 years. So
that's amazing. So let's start off every good story at the beginning. Tell me about Chelli Stanley. Where are you from? What kind of background do you have?
Yeah, so I'm like a multiracial person. My dad's Black and Japanese, and then my mom's white. And I've lived all over, but right now I'm in Maine. And I've been here for like 7 years. So I'm definitely, I grew up partially in Maine, and I love the environment and, all the lakes and rivers, beautiful up here. So I've always been very interested in, stopping with this environmental destruction and like finding a way to clean, polluted areas. So I actually became interested in hemp through John Trudell, who was always speaking about, hemp's ability to clean the earth and like promoting that for so long. And so I really studied him before, starting this project. And we've been working together with the Micmac Nation up in northern Maine since the beginning. Like, they were the ones who were interested in doing this project. I had reached out to some environmental organizations and asked like if they knew polluted land that we could try this on, and they all said no, which I thought was strange. And I didn't ever understand how they didn't know polluted land. But when I reached out, to the Micmac Nation, like Richard up there, Richard Syllaboy, immediately was like, there's this land that's polluted with this, there's this land that's polluted with that, you could work on this or this or this. And so it was just like a completely different relationship to the land and knowledge of the land. And they were immediately interested in just finding solutions to clean land in a new way. So that's how we were able to start up there with them.
So what polluted the land in the first place?
Yeah, so that area is actually a former Air Force base. So it was the major Air Force base in the country for nuclear weapons storage during the Cold War. And then it's also, was the area that the Micmac Nation now owns. I think they own 800 acres on this former Air Force Base Superfund site that closed in the 90s. Yeah.
Pictures of it here?
Yes. Yeah. So it's just been sort of deteriorating since then. They left a bunch of junk. Like if you go up a little, you'll see, that equipment there is just like thrown there. There's all this piping. There's like old big tanks of for oil that are left. So there's just like it's a very strange site because it's like deteriorating since then. And so the part that we're growing the hemp on right now was a former firefighting training area. So they would set, I think, large planes on fire or parts of planes and then put them out.
And so there's a lot of that residue of the fireman's foam.
Exactly.
I'm not sure exactly the proper word for it, but the fire retardant foam that is very toxic. Am I right in that?
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, they sprayed that foam, and now it is just still there in the soil. It's in the water. They don't know how to break it down at this point. So it's called the forever chemical because the bond is in the chemical is so strong that no one really knows how to break it apart. And it also lingers. It doesn't, it lingers. So it's in the soil, in the water, it can go into plants, it goes into animals. So it's just sort of like throughout that environment. So we have been doing a lot of testing just to kind of understand the extent of the contamination and, which areas. So, yeah.
Wow. So you're not necessarily a native company. You're working with a native tribe to clean up a site that's on their land, correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the organization wouldn't have existed without the Micmac Nation, and they are on Richard is pretty much a co-founder. He's on the board. Fred Corey's on the board. It's all, so it's definitely I think it would be a mixed group. And yeah, Richard's been very instrumental. I mean, the whole, I've gone to several tribal council meetings. And so just trying to make sure that what we're doing is helpful and in line with what people want and testing areas that everyone's wondering about and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely under the guidance, I would say, of the Micmac Nation as a whole, because it's their land and we wouldn't have been doing it without their permission.
Wow, that's super cool. So are you guys a non-profit then?
Yeah, we're fiscally sponsored, so we don't have the non-profit status ourselves, but we pretty much do because we have an organization that's kind of vouching for us. So
cool. So are we going to see research papers come out of this project?
Yeah, we have had a couple. We just had one recently. I should have sent you that link, but so we had one that was basically growing the hemp on the land. And then, yeah, we have some there. I don't think I put the most recent one on, but they, growing the hemp on the land and then seeing how much it was taking up, where it's putting it in itself. And then we were trying to break it down as well. So we've been reaching out to scientists, anyone who says that they have a way to break it down. We've sent the hemp to, so 3 scientists so far who've been testing their methods on the PFAS in the hemp, and it's been like pretty promising. I mean, the most recent one in the paper that came out recent in January, she was trying to turn it into biofuel, and so so it worked to some extent. Like some of the PFAS got broken down, some of the PFAS increased.
Ooh.
Like the PFOS increased, and we don't know why. So that's something, that she, would have to keep looking into. It was unclear if like the smaller PFAS types, when she did their process, like just formed into the bigger one. Mm-hmm. That could be why. But so it's kind of at this point, that's where we're getting held up, is that we know that it can take PFAS out of the soil. It doesn't take out PFOS very well, which is a long chain, pretty toxic PFAS, and it's in firefighting foam. So It doesn't really take that one out very well at this point. But the other ones that it takes out, like it's now in the hemp, and then we need it to be gone completely, so we don't just put it somewhere in a landfill or something. But the science hasn't really caught up to that point yet. So that's kind of where we're stuck. With this chemical. But other chemicals, don't have this problem. So you could do the same thing with hemp and actually break it down after,
Wow. So I know in mining out here in the West, we have mining operations and that sort of thing that kind of dirties up the soil and the environment. So hopefully you guys can kind of spread out and go to different areas that are contaminated and help other communities as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in touch with like Winona LaDuke. I know she's been working with a lot of people that want to start working with hemp like that. So, definitely. And I know Ira has been working on the uranium, and they've also been wanting to start working on the mining contamination out in New Mexico as well. So
Awesome.
I did send him that link. I don't know if
he's on. We're gonna take a quick 15-minute, a really quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to bring Mr. Ira on board. Stay tuned.
Stats tell that each day, 22 veterans commit suicide due to PTSD. These stats shook us and urged us to do our part. After hours and hours of thinking, Beekeeping for Veterans was born. Beekeeping for Veterans combines beekeeping with mindfulness meditation. Why combine them? Here's why. Beekeeping causes positive rush of adrenaline while beekeeping. You have to be calm during it. You are mindful of your movements. Each week, a veteran will receive a mindful meditation to build emotional and mental skill sets. Mindfulness is a set of 3 attentional skills that work together: concentration, sensory clarity, and equanimity, mental calmness, composure, evenness of temper. Every time mindfulness is practiced, we build these skills. Beekeeping for Veterans not only helps veterans overcome emotional trauma, but also aids our environment, as without bees, there is no food. Come forward. The people who have supported your country now need your support.
And welcome back to the show, everyone. We have a special guest with us who joined us during the break, Mr. Ira Vandever, who is owner-operator of Turquise Indigo Fiber in Arizona. Welcome to the show, Ira.
Oh, yeah, Tay. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So we've been having a conversation with Chelli, and she's been telling us about her environmental organization who's doing fantastic, amazing work in Maine. And so we're going to go ahead and touch base with you. Tell us, for folks who don't know who Ira is, let's go ahead and have you tell us a little bit about yourself, Ira.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having this space and welcoming us into it. And I'm really excited to do any kind of educating and informing about hemp and cannabis that I can. That's what I've been kind of doing, a lot of the research and development for the past, I guess, 4 years or 5 years. We started a company called Turquise Indigo Fibers, and we've been doing a lot of hemp and Navajo churro wool blending. And these blends are mostly from what we've been raising on the Navajo Nation, the techniques we've been using on the Navajo Nation for a long time. If you go down a little bit further, you can see my on the page that you were just scrolling. If you go down a little, right there in the middle of the pictures is my grandma in a beautiful velvet. Yes, there. That's how we all kind of got started with fibers. And this picture is probably around the time that I was maybe 5 or 4 years old. And I used to sit with my grandmother in help her with these looms. And then in the background, you can kind of see how it's set up on the warping. So we've been experimenting with replacing the warp with hemp fibers due to the strength and all that kind of stuff. And what we do is we operate kind of a zero waste operation. So we've been taking a lot of the waste of the hemp and the waste of the wool and using it to build things. I think our main goal as Turquise Indigo Fibers is to kind of create circular economies based around weaving, and hemp fits right in. I think hemp is just a byproduct of this whole operation that we got from my grandmother. She didn't speak a word of English. She only spoke Denebazad. So that's kind of where I come from. I think that was cool that you brought it up. Thank you for doing that. And she passed during the pandemic. So we've kind of picked up everything. I think we noticed that we're the uncles now. We're the dads now, and eventually becoming the grandpas and the grandmas. So yes, those are the products that we use. And we don't use any synthetic fibers or unnatural dyes or toxic anything. We just try to do everything natural. And because of that, being an herbalist is kind of a requirement of what we do as well too. So it's kind of the long introduction of what we do.
Beautiful product. It's gorgeous. Those colors are so vibrant, and that's all natural dyes that you use.
Absolutely. And a lot of
Amazing.
the dyes are medicines and old traditional techniques that my grandmother used to use.
Fantastic.
So what do you got going on here? What is this cool? I don't want to like say, but how can you say it for me? The show, like, how is yourself? Is it Bud? You know what
A
we're
bitch.
talking?
Yeah, it's kind of hard for some people to say. My radio manager can't bring himself to call me a bitch, so he calls me Bud. But I'm from the reservation. I'm from Wind River Indian Reservation. I'm a Northern Arapaho tribal member, and we love our res dogs. They're all around, and everybody has their favorite res dog. So that's kind of my background a little bit. And so ergo the Bud bitch. I'm into hemp and cannabis. I'm a hemp farmer. Going to get some of Winona's seeds in the ground here coming up very shortly and see how that does with the land out here. It's very high, arid, like high desert land. And I'm just really excited to see what happens. Just graduated from the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy, have my Master of Science in Medical Cannabis Science and Therapeutics. So very interested in the healing properties of it as well. I'm a 22-year veteran, disabled combat veteran as well. That's how I got this gig. The Military Broadcast Network is a nonprofit that helps gives voices to veterans and their causes and their interests. And I'm there like, be careful what you ask for, because I'm all about medical cannabis and hemp. So that's what I'm all about.
I saw the commercial and I was like, oh my God, we were just dealing with our bees this morning. And my grandfather was a Marine, so a Navajo code talker. And when he came back from World War II, breaking all the codes and everything, my grandmother had to deal with all the PTSD, with the trauma and everything, the nightmares that were happening. I don't know how many times she woke up and his hands are around her neck, and a lot of what she had done had been around the weaving. So a lot of the therapeutic stuff, the herbalism and things like that, she had integrated into his world, the gardening, the animal husbandry, and providing, that support for what she was supporting the entire 9 kids they had. And she was supporting the entire family with this weaving. So the PTSD and all that kind of stuff was so real in our family. It wasn't until my grandfather got into the Native American church and he started with peyote and other herbal tobaccos and those ceremonies that he started to get right again in his mind. And I love what you're doing. It's just a natural connection with warriors in the old time. There was just like, when you come back into the normal society, with all us normal civilians and stuff, and you got to figure out how to deal with us, right? And how everything's going on, because we don't know the real deal. And I think my grandfather found that through the herbalism, and cannabis and hemp are no different. I don't know why they get such a bad rap. They get such a terrible, terrible rap on just from the public in general, from the scientific community especially, and all the resource extraction. It's just like a huge target on them because it's the real deal. It's the real medicine. So I'm glad that that's what you're doing, and it works, and I really appreciate it. And the connection of our soldiers and our warriors is your natural instinct of bringing home our warriors from the last 500 years of going at it with the most brutal, most insane type of warfare that anybody can think of, and to go there, you have to go there in that realm of what cannabis and hemp and I think psilocybin medicines, as well as peyote, there's these gateways into that realm to be able to deal with it, to be able to live like my grandpa used to say, it's not just surviving. You have to get to a point where you got to thrive too. You don't just want to be surviving for the rest of your life. That's a scary thing to look forward to. But anyway, that it's amazing what you're doing. It sounds the right way, the right path. And I know Chelli, she's doing all she can to do good stuff too. So I'm really proud of you guys.
So how I found out about you two superstars in the hemp world is through the hemp school. I'm one of the students in Winona's hemp school. So could you give us a little bit of history about Winona? I've met her once. She came out here. We had a quick lunch together, and then she was on a plane out the door. So if you could give us some history about the hemp story that you have affiliated with Winona, I'd be really interested in hearing that.
Yeah, I feel like Ira could answer that better, because I'm sort of met Winona through email more recently. I haven't met her in person. So
yeah. So, Ira, could you
Well,
tell us a little bit about the hemp school and the University of
sure.
Winona?
I think Winona and the hemp school and hemp in general in the indigenous community, they're all synonymous. You know, you can't separate one from the other. She's got an interesting past of actually being a vice presidential candidate for
Ah,
running with the United States government. She's been with the AIM crew. She hung out with John Trudell, developed plans of attack and sustainability with John Trudell. She's just, I mean, she went to Yale or Harvard or Cambridge or Oxford or all of them. She's a brilliant woman, and I think at the heart of it, she's an economist, and that's rare for indigenous people because we don't really understand economies or how to develop them. We know how to work with the land. We know how to build sustainable communities, but how to translate that into what is an economy right now is what she's pretty good at. And what she was able to do was to turn it into a curriculum. And this is the second year that we've done that. And it's kind of a roadmap of one, breaking down the stigmas behind hemp and cannabis. And then secondly is how to kind of develop these circular economies in these localized indigenous communities. And I think a lot of it's based off of her idea of what like an indigenous standard would be. She really believes that in this life, we don't have to, exploit people. We don't have to take advantage or take too much or just be an asshole, basically. We can be human beings and still be successful and thrive. There's no sense in creating a world where people are trying to get over on each other. And I think that's her whole basis. And she was just like, sick of it. So she finally, in her, getting into her stages of being an elder, she's developed a plan on how to go about this in a way that we don't get assassinated. Because she grew up in those times where people got killed for speaking up for, a plant, or people got killed for speaking up for women, or people got killed for having, different ideas. And I think that kind of stuff still kind of goes on, but like more in an inadvertent way. And she's kind of creating this space where we can all kind of navigate this crazy maze, I guess. And that's the school. It's called Hemp 101. And basically it tells you all the possibilities and give you resources and allows you to come into the space in a safe space where people speak to you frankly and with an indigenous perspective. So that's kind of my get along with her. And she's always believed in Navajo because we've down here, we've got the uranium, we've got the coal, we've got the natural resource stuff that we've been doing since the 80s. And, the people are dying and the land is devastated and we've gained nothing. There's still 40% of the Navajo population that doesn't even have electricity.
Oh,
So
goodness gracious. That's crazy.
we're trying to, bring that kind of basic stuff to our indigenous communities. And that's where I know Winona.
Well, I'm having a blast in the school. I look forward to every Thursday sitting down, and she has just wonderful experts and wonderful insight, and everybody's just throwing around resources and phone numbers and emails and really getting the community together. I'm having a blast. So we're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about and hang tight and stay tuned.
In my eyes, indisposed, in disguises no one heat, summer stench, neath the black sky looks dead. Call my name through the cream, and I'll hear you scream again. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you come? Stood a rain, cold and damp, still the warm wind, tired friend. Times are gone for honest man, sometimes far too long for snakes in my shoes, walking sleep in my youth. I pray to keep heaven sent hell away. No one sings like you anymore. Black hole star, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole star, won't you come? Won't you come? Black hole star, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole star, won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you hang my head, drown my fear, till you all just disappear. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain.
we're back, everyone, with Miss Chelli Stanley and Mr. Ira Vandever. And we've been sitting around talking about hemp, and now I'd really like to get into some more bioremediation conversations. Mr. Ira?
Hey guys.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Got my kiddos here, so hey,
Beautiful.
hi. This is
Hi,
Suka.
baby.
This is a Dindin. Say hi.
Beautiful.
Got them outside doing planting, and they got assignments to do. So
nice.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. It's all good here in the doghouse. So we were talking about bioremediation, and Chelli was telling us that the Navajo Nation is kind of facing a lot of the same things that we are here on Wind River. A lot of the uranium, the drilling, oil is just making a huge mess out here. I have some property, and I have to drive by to get down to the Wind River. I go down and I pass by open pits of just sludge, and I'm this close to like calling the EPA and saying, "Hey, what is this normal to have open pits of sludge by the Wind River?"
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I saw that it says Dog Days episode number 6, and there I was going off on this whole tangent, and it's bioremediation with hemp. But anyway, I think
it's all good.
All of them are linked together, and I think that's the whole idea with circular economies. And what we found out with hemp is like, on the one hand, it's healing veterans on a medicinal side, and on the other hand, it can heal the earth as well. It's got these really powerful traits that bioremediation is just a part of that entire life cycle of what hemp does. And down here, the main idea with hemp is we've approached the Navajo Nation, we've approached the EPA, we've approached the big corporations, and as much as us three on this channel have a big heart and we want to do the right thing, it doesn't really feel like that's the highest priority for them. The EPA has received gazillions of dollars since these mines were created, and the Navajo Nation still up to this day is giving our carbon credits away to these large companies so that they could resource extract more. And right now they've got a hydrogen pipeline and a whole hydrogen future and helium future already planned and pushing through the local governments right now. Right now on the Navajo Nation, it's even illegal to grow hemp. So they've criminalized it. It's not even an option at the moment. And I think if you have the opportunity, maybe even just to propose, say, I'm, very interested in using hemp to clean some of this sludge up. I'm not just here to create problems and say what's wrong and who's to blame and blah, blah, blah. That has gotten a lot of us who, like, we have mentors that are like activists like Winona, from Big Mountain, and they took shots and fired at the FBI and get off our land and da 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 da. And somehow the Hopi and Navajo still have problems over lies, propaganda and what they're able to do and how they're infiltrating our entire movements that involve sovereignty, protecting the land, all humans living in harmony together. And it's just the weirdest dystopian nightmare that we're dealing with. But if you're with the ability to grow hemp right now where you're at, and someone to propose it to, we can get you something just crashed there in the background.
That sounded expensive.
get you seeds and the technical support and whatever you would actually need. And the good thing about Winona's class and her circle is you're able to get like the legal help, the highest levels. I didn't even know some of these levels existed, but when you're in Washington and you're you're trying to draft bills and like the 2024 Farm Bill, there's a guy named Marcus Grignon that's been working really hard to get a lot of those bills passed that involve tribes and hemp and how we're able to use it to clean up. And remediation can happen with sunflowers or cottonwood trees or whatever you can think of, plants and the biology of this earth has been doing it forever. There's just natural uranium everywhere. There's natural sludge and oil everywhere. Plants have been doing it, and we can do it faster with hemp. And I think that's the goal. And then afterwards, what we're working on is the problem is like, what do you do with all the biomass, and is there still traces of the toxins still in it? And I think that leaves a lot of room for technology and research and development for our native people that might have mushroom mixes and whatever the earth has been doing for a long time.
Awesome. I love that idea. Are they working on that kind of stuff, Chelli, as far as what you do with the hemp after it's sucked up the bad stuff? What do you do with the biomass after it's sucked up the bad stuff? Because now it's kind of bad stuff too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's like the point that we're at as far as being stuck a little bit in the research with PFAS because they don't know how to break it down. So we've sent it to several scientists. We've looked into mushrooms, but the research so far is showing that it's not breaking down PFAS. So we can't really do that. But with oil or something, you could use mushrooms, definitely. And then put the hemp, that's taken the oil up into like a mushroom pile that you inoculate with mushrooms. So yeah, that's kind of the point. I think that needs, like Ira was saying, like more research, more funding, like being able to work with hemp is all new anyway. So this is all just like, we know hemp can take out chemicals, but learning everything about like which chemicals, where is it putting it, how much is it taking out, what do we do then? Like all that's still to come. So I feel like the more people that are looking into it, and sharing the information, like the quicker we can start cleaning up different areas. So it's all, yeah.
Are you working with a university or a state organization? I know you're working with the tribes, and that's awesome. Yep. Are you also working with something on a more national level, a university level as well?
Yeah, we are working with like the Connecticut Agriculture Experiment Station, the University of Virginia, University of Albany, Princeton.
Wow.
University of Minnesota. Yeah, we've just been, anyone that's like doing interesting PFAS research, we all just are looking. I Google PFAS like every day, read the latest news, and like if anyone's done any research, and then if they do something interesting with breaking it down, I'll just reach out to them and see if they'll take our hemp and like study it, their process. So yeah, we've been able to work with a lot of people, and I think that has really helped with not getting the pushback so much, because I was expecting pushback from like the Air Force or from maybe the EPA and stuff, and we haven't gotten any pushback so far, which has been great. I think the other thing about it in this case is that everyone is wanting a solution to this PFAS issue. Like, it's just a huge problem. There's so much money, that's billions, going to have to pay out for these companies. So they even want a solution. The Air Force wants a solution. So the fact that we're looking for one, they've been supportive and they want something to come forward. So in this case, yeah, it's been helpful to have other institutions involved so that it's been, I think, harder to try to stop what we've been doing.
It's almost like you guys need a conference or something where the community can get together and maybe help share stories and resources and research.
Yeah,
Um,
Winona puts some on. It sounds like hemp conferences and.
I'm like so sick of the conference,
Oh yeah.
world and the whole conference. I don't know if it's a circuit or whatever it is, and all of these things that where we have. I would love like the old days. Like I remember like my grandfather talking about the Navajo medicine men, and all the leaders would gather, out in nature and out in, somewhere that was the actual site, and you're actually doing stuff that is um, kind of practical, useful, sustainable, as well as I don't know. I think these schools and these classes and and sharing information is where the key is. We've been open about everything and trying to push everything that we can that way and share information. And the younger generation, like my kids running around doing what they're doing, I think they'll figure it out before we do. And but we're kind of kicking in the door right now. It's so surprising that we're just barely like saying, "Oh, we're not getting any kickback," or people aren't, going against us anymore, or it's so
Yeah.
new, so new, and I think we've got a long way to go, and this is just the beginning. I think having a hemp 101 will seem so primitive. It already does when I hear Chelli talk. I'm like, man, it's come a long way within the last 4 years, very long way, and I hope that speeds up and then opens new doors on how, because I think the agronomy is the key. So when you're pulling in all of these toxins and stuff like this, and as you accumulate them, there has to be something out there, something that's working that neutralizes these things. And I think the seed studying and the agronomy is very important. And as long as we're able to do that without being, arrested or thrown in jail for, a long period of time, breakthroughs will happen. Because right now, like one of the biggest things is um, you can only have a certain amount of THC in your hemp plants, but maybe that's the key of where the
Hmm.
toxins are able to be broken down when there's more THC and more. Um, I don't know how you describe it, but I think it's the future is in the seeds, the agronomy, owning our seeds. That's why Monsanto and all those other ones are so huge, because they want to own all of the genetics that are involved with these types of things. And if we can own our own and have our own, I think that'll be the key for the future.
Oh, that's interesting. I totally agree 100%. So I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Anashibi? No, that's not the name of the school. Anashiba?
Anishinaabe.
Anashinabe. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes. So
Anishinaabe.
our viewers out there and our listeners, look it up. I don't know if we can maybe bring it up on a website so people can check
Yeah,
out what they're doing.
it's the Anishinaabe Agriculture Institute. Is
Yes.
the people that they've been doing a lot of the work and the research and development on hemp and cannabis in indigenous country. So
Right. So we're going to try and bring up that website for folks who are interested in checking out what we're all talking about. They're the ones that I'm going to their hemp school. I met these two instructors, hemp professionals through that website and that organization. And Winona LaDuke is also involved with that. Hopefully I can get her on the show sometime. So we're not, just talking about her. We can have the real person in person. The subject of today is bioremediation, but I'm open to anything. So you talking about your hemp or your fabric business is awesome. That's great. That's part of part of the whole cycle of things. So yeah, feel free to. Oh, there it is. There we go. We got the website up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're interested in any of our listeners out there checking it out, Hemp 101, hopefully we'll have a Hemp 200, Hemp 400.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because it's also new, you know. It was like what 6 or 7 years ago it was completely illegal, and you would get, yeah, like I was saying, thrown in prison for trying to grow fiber hemp, you know, and now it's just like we all can work with it for the first time in like 60, 70 years. So it's nice to just like try to, like, that's what we're sort of trying to do, is just like push it all forward as quickly as possible, you know, just like we don't, you know, just like get the knowledge, share it, keep going, you know, just to, because the future, I feel like we too, but the people in the future are going to have to know how to clean the land. You know, there's like no doubt about that. They have to have the tools. It has to be accessible. They have to know the whole process and like how to get it broken down. So the more like we can do to just get that solidified for them in the future, I think is important, you know, and completely necessary.
Absolutely. We're setting the groundwork, and if the foundation is solid, then moving forward, they'll be more successful and hopefully not have the problems and challenges that we're facing right now. So if we can pave a smooth road, and so we can do things in the right way going forward, hey guys, we're doing something right here.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, I do think it does change like the whole energy around it, you know, because like I know, Ira, you were saying the other day that the way the EPA does it right now is like bury it in a pit, like an unlined pit, put some soil on top with the lining and say that that's clean, you know? And like that's obviously, like anyone who thinks about it, it's not helping, you know? So I think like the fact that there's now people, like regular people who are thinking about this, who are starting to find new ways to say like, no, we actually want it clean. We want the environment to be respected. We want the earth to be healthy, you know, and like putting forth a new way. I think it's just changing like the whole way of thinking about it to become like what Native people have always been saying in and all along, you know what I mean? But like, I think the influence is now starting to push back on like this way that's been being done that's not helpful. So yeah, I think even though it's hard, and especially like where you're working, Ira, you know, with all those forces and trying to just take everything they can, you know, the like you are creating a different path out of it, you know, that will be,
Yeah.
people will like join you for sure, you know.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, by the Navajo Nation, there's like 110 chapters. So each chapter that has something to do with something like this. For example, the EPA has been paid so much since 1980. So 1980 now, I was thinking like 20 years ago, but 1980 is like almost 50 years ago. 50 years ago. So the EPA has been working on this for 50 years. And from then until now, the best solution for the uranium right upstream from where we are, after 50 years of paying an EPA director at 100 grand a year for 50 years, and then the assistants and the researchers in the field, the best solution still is we're going to take this so many tons, hundreds of thousands of tons, and then relocate it upstream to this landfill that's right next to another Navajo community. It's like it's like it's right there. We could have been treating it for 50 years, preventing all these different, pathways with the phytoremediation. But instead, this guy has been doing whatever he's been doing, and this is the best he's come up with after 50 years. And it is the same guy. It is the same people, and they're not native. They're not Navajo. They're not from the community. They're Caucasian from Maryland or wherever, Michigan. And they don't have the solutions. They never will, because they don't care about it, because it's not their grandparents that are dying from it, or their brothers and sisters that don't have the jobs that they should have. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. I think you're spot on the money right there. We're running out of time, so I just want to let you guys know that my door is always open. If you come up with some new research, Miss Chelli, you give me a call and I will get you some time. Absolutely. Ira, my door is always open, brother. You give me a call. I'm all about cannabis, all about hemp, and I want to give you guys a voice as well. We're going to go ahead and sign off now. Thank you so much for joining me. This is like my 5th episode, so being a podcaster. So it's only going to get better, folks. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Peace out.
Thank you.
Go on it.
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcast episodes. And thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about something close to my heart. Military Broadcast Radio is doing incredible work to support our veterans and bring their voices to the world. They rely on your generous donations and your dedicated volunteer hours to make it happen. I encourage you to consider supporting NBR in any way, form that you can. Use this QR code that's attached to the picture, or you can go to our website at mbradio.us. That's Mike Bravo Radio.us to learn more about how you can donate or volunteer even just an hour a week from your home. Help make a difference in the lives of our veterans, because once again, we're all here for you and not for us. We're giving our veterans a voice.